Okay, we got that done. So now before we start doing the detail portion of this, this is all underpainting. And now comes the fun part of, we're gonna do a couple more just background little things, and then we're gonna start the detail process. So what I want you to do is grab your flat 1/2 inch, or I think it's a number 6, sable brush. Oh, I gotta fix that. Gravity really is being mean to me today. I'll fix you, gravity. I'll learn to fly or something. So I'm gonna take and clean that out, get everything out of it. I'm gonna come back to this light gray color that I used on the window, and I'm not gonna use that. I'm gonna come over here and make this pile just ultramarine blue. Grab a touch of gesso. I want a pale blue, but here's the secret. Here's the trick to this. I want it super soupy, if that makes sense. Super soupy. You can add just a touch of purple, but see, this is really thin. It's really watery, and you want it like this for a particular reason. I come up here and just kind of get some off of my brush. Now I'm going to come up here and make some curtains. Come back, get a little more paint, get a little bit of it out. Start with a light touch, press, push, 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 push. More paint, squish it out. Start with a really light touch and push harder, harder, harder. Let go. Now, because this is so thin, it has this real transparent look. Push a little bit more pressure, light, more pressure, get a little more paint, flatten out my brush, start out light, pressure, pressure, pressure. See all this mess down here? Dry it out, flatten my brush, follow the contours just to get rid of those bubbles. Tell me that doesn't look like blind or curtains in the window behind the glass. All right, it might not, but I think it looks cool. Jump back to our number 8 bristle brush. Squeeze the paint out of there, and we're going to come here and we're going to grab a little bit of water into this greenish mess we have here. Green. Touch of gesso, touch of orange. Start to warm this up a little bit more gesso to make it more opaque. Don't want it too light yet. Okay. Again, I'm going to load up the end of the brush. And you might come over here and dab on your dabble board. And start to indicate where the light is hitting. I do have this a little bit, okay, I've got it a little bit too light. So what I'm going to do is come grab a little bit of water. Get some water out of here. Come back here. That is the beauty right there of acrylic paint. I just took care of it. I'm going to come back and grab green, a little bit of that darker green I had. There we go. I kind of want a medium, a little bit of burnt sienna. I don't want it bright yet, but I do. Yeah, there we go. Doing the same thing I did with the dark purple and hooker's green, but I'm just trying to start to indicate where the light is going to be hitting. Think about it. The light's coming this way. You have to leave some of that dark. If you don't have dark, you can't have light. You don't see light without the dark. Think about that. This is in the light, that's in the light. You don't have to follow everyone. Huge mistake a lot of hobby painters make is they think they have to follow the line of that. No, bring some out, bring some color over here. That's fine. But I do know that there's some sticking out here in the light that later I'm going to want to really super highlight, but I can't lose that dark. And then there's light coming this way. Not covering everything. And I know that the top of this, there's going to be lighter bits. Great. But I'm going to come back and grab my 1/2 inch or number 6 flat sable. I'm going to find a spot on my palette where I can take some orange, some red, some burnt sienna mud, a little more orange. I want it kind of orangey. This is terracotta. Grab a touch of purple to make it darker to begin with. This is relatively thick. I have that on there pretty thick. I am going to put a flower pot right here. Cool. And that artificial color looks really good with against the natural color. And we'll come back and highlight this later. We'll add some flowers in there. You can still see just a little bit of the flower box now. The other thing I'm going to do is take this same brush. I'm going to clean it out. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to grab some pure purple and a little bit of this greenish purple dark, whatever dark I've got sitting on my palette with purple in it. And I'm going to come in here and see, I want this to be darker, and I'm just finding spots. This is thin, almost like we did the curtains. Dark with a little bit of purple. And this is just to start adding dimension. And I'm just coming in where I can see the holes. This is going to be kind of a cast shadow. Over here, great place for more deep, rich color. Dark with the purple. And there we go. Just kill off some of that brighter background. So when if I was to sit and do this, and I really wanted to make it like uber detailed, you can. There's so much more you could do to this. It's crazy. I I would sit here and do stuff like this and just keep going dark and then go light and then go dark and then go light, just to make it super cool. But doing a lesson like this is the the quickest way I can show you how to get going in that regard. While I still have that dark, I'm taking dark crap on my palette with the purple, I am going to come up here. I'm going to do the bottom side of this window ledge. There's got to be a shadow down here. Cast a little bit over that, a little bit over that. I am going to take that same dark, come down this side. Again, the light's coming this direction. That might not be dark enough. I got white in there. You can't get, when you're trying to make black, you can't get any other color mixed in there. It'll just distort it and you'll have a gray, but I'm okay with that at the moment. We've done all the underpainting on this painting that we can. Now it's time to start adding the details to this painting, which is the fun part. So we did the underpainting of the plants, we did the little pot, we did a little bit the medium tone on the vegetation here, and now we are going to find our synthetic. I have so many paintbrushes out here. So what I have is a rigger brush. I believe it's a number 2? A number 2 synthetic rigger. What I'll probably do is take my palette knife, come down here somewhere, and I just want to make a pile of black. So I'm going to grab some ultramarine blue, some burnt sienna, touch of purple, and I just want to get this mixed up. A little more blue because it's too brown. And now I have my black. That is just black. It's such a good black color. Clean off your tools. Okay, what we're going to do is come down here and get this real inky with this brush. And then come in here and we're going to start adding some details to the wood. What you want to add those now. Add some knots, just add some lines to the wood. You'll see how this comes out later. That's fine. Come back, a little more water. Same thing here. So you want a knot hole right there. You gotta have this like ink. It's usually rotted up under where the water falls. And what I'm doing by coming up here is I'm just knocking some paint out of my brush, and you'll see when we come back and add highlights here how that kind of gets taken care of. Okay, I'll also take this thin like ink, come up underneath these areas in here and just define a little bit. Clean up the edge so it's not a real hard, or actually, I'm take that back. I am actually in just a little bit of a hard edge where it might be a cast shadow. Just to define the area. See how that made that just pop right out? Now, make sure this is thin. And now you can take areas like here, for instance. And you know this gets all cracked. Crack from here. Check that out. Doesn't that look cool? You got to think a little bit architecturally on how is this going to crack? I can see in my mind's eye, I can see how it's going to crack. I've seen enough of these old buildings to kind of understand how they architecturally follow what's underneath them. I want one right here. Cool. I love that. That's, to me, that is so fun, adding stuff like that. Let's say this comes down, goes here. But it's going to follow kind of a brick pattern that's underneath it, and that'll make more sense when we add the brick we're going to add. Let's bring this down. Again, when you have time, and you have all the time in the world to sit here and do this to the nth degree, do it. Take your time. I'm going to come over here and put the shadow from the light right here with the same color, not color, with this same value. Just make it dark. Make that dark. And again, when you're spending time on your own, doing all this, take your time and detail the daylights out of it. But I like, even what I've got, I'm going to come here. Yeah, very cool. Okay, now let's jump back over to our flat 1/2 inch. And my paper towels that we're rolling on the floor. Now I'm going to come over here to this pile of gesso I've got mixed in some mud. Now I'm not going to do this thin. I want this thick, so I'm going to make sure the brush is relatively dry. But it does have a touch of yellow. Usually, if I'm doing like a tree or something, I'm going to use a little bit of orange. But for this painting, I'm going to use a little bit of yellow, because that's what we've got going on here. And now I'm just going to start adding where the sun is hitting this the hardest. thick paint on there. Usually want it more towards the end of the brush. Light, I'm just skimming so light. Kind of skipping my brush, letting the bristles of the brush do the work. Cool, I like it. It'll dry a little bit darker than that. And I'm gonna come back and grab my putty knife and gonna come in here, try and get it relatively flat. I don't want a line. I want it, see how I'm kind of dashing? That looks so much better than a straight line. Gives it way more character. Remember this one I had to correct because it was like wicked crooked. Like that. Clean off the brush, or the the putty knife, and the light's coming this direction, so I want on this side of the line. We'll do this so that it makes sense. Dot, dash, dash, dot, like that. Now, boom, that window sill, or whatever they call that frame, is sticking out like crazy. I love it. Rinse my brush. Get more of my 70,000 down paper towels. Okay, now I'm going to come in here. I'm going to grab orange. This pile I had before for the pot. Orange, red, little too much cad red, a little bit of gesso, a little more orange. But look how thick I put that paint on there. Dot, dash, a little bit too much. It's fine. Watch what we do. Not done. Okay, so you got that mess on there. Squeeze the paint out of your brush. Flatten it. Soften. Now, that looks fantastic. I want this little spot right here to be a little bit brighter. Squeeze the paint out. Feather it. Great. Now, looks like the light is just hitting that flower pot. I love that. Okay, now we're going to jump over to, we're going to add these bricks real quick. So I am going to grab, I'm going to grab my number 2 bristle brush. I'm going to come back to this pile of red and orange, add more red, add some burnt sienna over on one side, add some orange over on the other side, add some yellow above it. Okay, and we're going to add some gesso to the bottom of it. Okay, I'm going to come back to my putty knife. I grab a little bit of moisture in here. Now, this can take forever to do. So I'm just going to do one section here. And I'm going to take a little bit of red, add some green to it because it's just too red. I want a little bit of a dull red as well. Add some there, there. Wipe your brush out, grab some of the dark red. And come back up in between those. See the variation? I want just a little more orange in the one, so I'm going to add some orange, touch of blue, just to gray it down some. That's how you make brick easily. Okay, you see how that works? Go ahead and get all your brick done, and then we'll hop back at it. I'm gonna take a break. Okay, so I jumped ahead of you a little bit. I just went ahead and did the brick because that's just repetitive stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into adding some of the floral details and a couple other details to kind of wrap this painting up. Let's go ahead, and I want to add in some flowers. So I'm gonna come down here, I'm gonna grab some, you know, you've seen bougainvilleas. I don't know what the name of the plant is, but I'm going to take alizarin crimson and red. I'm going to add just a touch of this black color to it. And I'm using a number 4 sable brush. This is not synthetic, it's a sable. And I want to come in here and I just want to start adding some flowers. And I'm just doing a little comma stroke. And these are going to be the shaded part of the flower. Let's see, right here. Just pick where you want them. It's your world, you do what you want. I'm gonna put some red flowers in this pot. Again, you don't want to space them out like you got a herd of turtles. You just want to make sure that it's random, naturally random. Okay. I like that. Next, I'm going to take, let's have some yellow flowers. I'm going to come down here and grab some yellow, put it in with a little bit of this yellow gesso purpley mess I've got here. And let's put some flowers in here. I like some yellow flowers up in there too. Okay. Now I'm going to grab some, same brush. I'm going to take this gesso I've got right here. I'll grab some new gesso. I'll find a spot on my palette, grab some purple, pure gesso and purple. This is going to be a little bit on the thicker side because I want purple flowers. I'm going to add a touch more purple to that. There we go. Okay. Now just to finish this up and to touch this up, I'm going to grab some gesso, just a touch of yellow, and I have the paint on here as thick as I can get it, and I would come along this top edge. Might be too thick. Just to indicate where the sun is hitting the brightest. You have to put acrylic on like super, super thick for it to work and make it look like an oil painting. Okay. And we know the light's coming down over on this side. Again, as thick as I can get it on my brush. This side. Don't leave any lines. Perfect. And so you could go through all the parts in your window and do stuff like that. I'm just going to show you, and now if you're on your own, I'm going to take that same white and yellow. These purple flowers are actually white, and if you leave that purple showing a little bit, that would be the shadow of a white flower. They don't all have to be done. Just where the light's probably hitting. Okay. And the last thing we're going to do is come down here and grab some vivid lime green. Find a clean spot. Grab some of this gesso. Because vivid lime green is actually quite transparent. I'm going to grab just a touch of yellow. Now is when I would come in and start adding the little flowers, or the little, and that may be just a touch too lime green. I'm going to add a little bit of hooker's green to that. A little bit more. There we go. I got to have something thick to put on there. Which, you know, that looks like flowers anyway, so. So this is where you'll start dancing in. And you can, let's do this. Let's hop out of that brush. Come back to that number 8 sable brush, or bristle brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of that hooker's green. A little bit. I might grab a little bit of orange to kind of tone that down just a touch. But now, what I'm trying to do is to get these leaves, and it's still a little bit too vivid green. Grab a little bit of orange, a little bit of gesso, squish that around. There we go. And just real lace looking. Squish the bristles out. Turn the brush. And you're just kind of thinking about where the light is hitting. A little bit more. I think the light's hitting really well right here. And then I'm going to grab my little number 4, take pure red, and then come back in where the red is hitting these flowers. I'm putting it on super thick. Pure red. Don't do them all, otherwise you lose the fact that some of them are not in sunlight. You can see how that's hidden way back underneath, and this one's hitting the sunlight. And so that is about the extent of this painting as far as the basics go. There's so much more you could do. Detail the living daylights out of this thing. Have fun. You could detail every one of these bricks if you want to. You'll want to make sure that you've got this cast shadow. You want to make sure you come back over and get this cast shadow put back in over those bricks. But once you get to that point, some of these down here, you could highlight those. You can add more flowers, different colors, whatever you want to do. This was just something to show you how to get going, how to start the process. It's just super fun. Look at that, you could even add just stuff like that. Smear it down and it just looks rustic. Doing rustic paintings is a simple, easy, fun task to do. So hey, I hope you enjoyed doing this painting, the Italian flower box. Again, take your time, do it at your pace, and I hope you enjoyed the process of understanding a little bit more how acrylics work and how this technique works. And please subscribe and join the channel. I'm gonna try my best to do another video as soon as I can. And I just hope you continue to enjoy, and you can take the time to do this. Relax, take some time out of the work week, your week, whatever's going on, and enjoy doing some painting. It's so therapeutic. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe, like, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much. So you know what? A friend of mine was watching my video. Thank you, my friend. You know who you are. And he told me about an artist he watched that did a painting where she did it in 10 hours. And then she spent it up to 20 hours. No, I take it back. 1 hour. And then she spent 10 hours on it. And then she spent 100 hours on it. And I thought, wow, that is like super interesting to me. So what I'd like to do, this one we finished basically online in the 3-part series I did, but I'm gonna jump and I'm gonna see what I can do with this. I'm gonna spend, I'd say, another hour on this, so it'll make it a total of 2 hours. But if at 2 hours, and then if I think about it and I can see, I'm not the kind of hyper detail stuff, but if I can see where I can do even more, which I'm sure you can, because every artist can always, a painting's never finished. We get bored with them as artists. I do anyway. So that's what happens to me. So I'm gonna force myself to paint another hour on this and see how the other hour, what it makes it look like. Join me if you want to, or just watch. Thank you, and let's get right to it.